Okay, so we're here.
Right. All right. So let me get
Okay.
started. So welcome everyone. Today is Friday, August 11th, 2023. This is the wrap up discussion of the fifth short story, After the Fact, in the book authored by Sid Webster Beecham, Struck by Lightning. Please feel free to join in with your questions or comments to this discussion. If you've been following the stories or any other stories, you're welcome you to also join in on this discussion with us tonight. Hopefully, anybody joins in, they can add on. The book is available, Struck by Lightning, for purchase on Amazon or from directly from the website at www.sidwebsterbeecham.com, and that's spelled WebsterBeacham.com. So far, we have released and produced four of the five short stories of the book on YouTube. The fourth story in the book will be published on our Patreon for subscribers only. Due to the sensitivity of the topics and the types of dysfunction portrayed in that story, YouTube regulation will probably have an issue with story number four. Um, Before we start, I want to thank everyone for listening, subscribing, and contributing to this project. Sid and I greatly appreciate all the support we've been getting, and all the links for donations are located on the main website. If you like this content and are not already subscribed, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the like button, comment, and share to your social media platforms. We love the comments and the feedback. It helps us improve on our podcast and it will help the channel grow. You can also call or leave feedback by leaving a voicemail comment at our podcast voicemail line at 856-244-1758. Or you can email comments or feedback to our podcast email, which is comeupforairpodcast@gmail.com. And so that we can use them for any comments or voicemail content, we would be able to use it in the future for podcast content or promotional purposes. Now, Sid, let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Yes.
Story 5, After the Fact. Joan, the mistress, and Charles, the cheater.
Lord have mercy. My
Part
goodness.
Yeah. So part one was titled Convenient Revelation. Um Charles is revealed that Charles is hiding. He hid the wedding ring when he met Joan in the marriage.
Yep.
And so he's being portrayed as being selfish, self-absorbed, having no moral principles. Like I said, Charles is for the streets in this story.
Yeah.
But also, does Joan have morals, or is she also for the streets? It leaves me to question.
Well, I think they're both lying to themselves, to be honest, because, Charles, this is his MO. I mean, as we find out going
Hmm.
through the story.
Hmm.
But Joan, so she relies on a weak excuse, which many women do. But see,
Hmm.
this is what my question is throughout the story: why men choose not to wear their wedding rings, right?
Right.
Because that's the first, to me, that's the first point of defense for a married man, right? I
Right.
mean, it doesn't always work because some women really just don't care, but a lot of women, they will just look and say, okay, he's not married, so okay,
Yeah,
and
and
he was very deceptive in the beginning because he was visiting her. He didn't come off as a man that was married, coming to the store, taking her out,
mm-hmm,
driving, so, and he's not wearing a ring. So
right,
he didn't really give off any vibe that he was married. Like, you can't imagine that a man would be so bold and out there,
right,
if he's married, right?
mm-hmm,
And then to finally, after, romancing her and everything, to reveal after they have the most, powerful orgasmic sex, right?
yes,
And then he tells her, right?
right,
So why
right.
would he wait till then to tell her? Is that to relieve his own, like, his guilty conscience? Is that, that's what I wonder.
Possibly, but it was like an aha moment, you know what I'm saying? I got you, you know what I'm saying? And then he felt like he just, his ego probably too. He's like, yeah, so,
That's
I know she
the
not going nowhere now after I got her all demonetized and, you
exactly,
know what I'm saying?
exactly. But to bring her to his house, and then she looks around and starts realizing, I am in some woman's house. I mean,
Which is
can you
crazy.
imagine? You've been to the restaurant, you've
The
been hanging out,
boldness.
y'all been, you were all mesmerized. And
Mm-hmm.
then then after that, I mean, who would believe that a man would bring you to his house where he lives with his wife?
They do it though, and and that's why people end
They
up on
do
the
do it.
news. Yep.
Yep, they do it. They do that. That is true. So that's
So we,
part one.
mhm.
The convenient revelation. That was very convenient for him. He worked that thing, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And so now, what is Joan gonna do? Is she gonna allow herself to continue in the situation, or is she gonna have stand on her principle and back away? But part
Right,
two went into resistance,
right, right. And
and
yeah,
Joan continuing the relationship after acknowledging, knowing that Charles was married, to me puts her in a bad position because now Charles sees, if it probably also feels for herself, oh, okay, so Joan is with it. She for the street. You know what I'm saying?
yep, she's with it because, and but he does admit, he said, if I had told you I was married when I met you, you wouldn't have, been with me,
Right.
which was
But
true.
look,
So he knew
he
what he was
didn't leave.
doing because
Yeah.
it has always worked for him, you know.
Yeah.
Um, that's why, in the description, I said his calculated deception works in his favor, and her
Mm,
resistance becomes fuel for his persistence because the more she tried to fight it, the more he pressed in.
right.
So
And
she
I
wouldn't
think that
get.
also when he was working his game, he probably in different discussions, she probably revealed some of her desperation, which gave him even more fuel
Yep,
to continue to put the pressure
I
on
agree.
Joan.
I agree. I think men like that can smell the desperation, or feel like they've really filled a niche that or something that's missing in her
Hmm.
life,
Yeah.
and latch right onto that.
Yeah.
Zero right in on that. And
Hmm.
then some of the comments from the resistance chapter
Hmm.
from smooth groove. Why did Charles feel compelled to continue to pursue a woman that obviously was not interested in him? Do you feel the woman was leading him on by giving him clues that made him think she might be interested? See, I don't know about that comment from Smooth Groove because she was not obviously not interested. She was fully interested,
Yes, she was.
you know.
She
Yep.
was already, especially after they had sex and everything.
Right.
She was fully involved at that point.
Yep.
So you know, she she's um at this point, like I said, she for the street. She just in it to get what she wants. Just in it to get
In the end, I think so
what she
too.
can get.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
yeah, because and then your comment too, Joan should have trusted her instincts and not let her shield weaken, but
Right.
she was weakened before he even revealed that he
You're
was
right
married.
about that. She was weak. And
Yep.
that and why was she weakened? It take us into part three. The
Yes.
old queen.
Yes. The old
And
man. Lord. Lord.
and
Oh,
so, that's the danger though. Being in a relationship with someone that you don't like and you just staying there just because
yeah.
cause damage, and then it caused damage to Joan mentally,
Yeah.
weakened her, and then look, now she's all vulnerable and ends up with a Charles.
I know.
So
You
I
know,
like I said, do you think Joan was being fair? First of all, was she being fair to the old man?
no, but she felt bad about it at least. I mean, she
Yeah,
hung in there because she felt
she
bad
felt
about it,
bad.
but she should have been honest, I felt.
Yeah,
She was being a coward about it. She could have well, I don't know, what would it have done for her to tell him why?
because if she was honest, do you think that they could have um worked together to fix that situation? Because is the relation so the relationship for Joan was all about sex, but for the old man at his age, being with somebody, I guess, isn't all about the sex.
Companionship, because he
Yeah,
was whining and dining her, and she felt that he was really good to her in every other way, but the sex part was terrible,
Joan issue.
and she felt frustrated behind that. So that was pretty sad, but it's a sad reality. And and then she created ways. This happens a lot, I think, with
So,
couples where
so like what she did tell the old man, what do you think would have been the solution? Him getting on Viagra or something?
I don't know. I mean, I wonder. I wonder. And then, Viagra's not really safe, for old
That's
men.
what
So
I'm
be
saying. He
like,
just got
go
on
ahead and have
Viagra.
that heart attack. But as
Exactly.
long as you can get it up.
Right. Right.
Oh my God.
And then like so, but then at least he could have brought it up if he wanted to make that option, or he could have said, "Look, I think we should just go our separate ways," and then
But
I
what's
think
funny about it too, because I think the older man was super good in other ways because he knew he wasn't functional that way too. That was his thing.
right.
Because and then for him to keep accusing her of leaving him for another man, making that a self-fulfilling prophecy, he,
That would get on my nerves. Yeah,
yeah,
that
and
will force somebody to leave to go get another.
exactly,
You keep accusing them of doing something they're not doing.
right, right.
Yeah.
So
So his
he had
yeah
a problem too in that area,
yeah.
And there was comments on here. Let's see, universal truth. Do you think Joan is being fair to the old man? And then Tyrone Jackson said that old man is lucky she didn't kick him out sooner. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
For
But
real.
so
For real.
yeah,
'Cause some people could be cold.
yeah,
Some people could be cold.
yeah.
But you know what? Is it better to be cold and upfront in the beginning instead of lingering stuff on and torturing yourself while you really being in a situation that you're not happy with, and letting the other person believe not know.
That's
That's
also yeah. But I think that
that's
happens a
torture.
lot
That's
where people are
torture.
just trying to not hurt somebody's feelings,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
you
and
miserable.
yet you're being very frustrated behind that because you're not happy.
Right.
And so how long can that last?
So her doing that, that's how she ended up with a Charles on the rebound.
Isn't it terrible? That is how
She
she
jumped,
ended up
she
with the
jumped from
Charles
the
on the
frying pan,
rebound.
the old man frying pan, into the fire,
Yep,
a married man.
yep, yeah. What a shame. It's almost like, how did Charles just dance on up into that store like that when she's going through what she was going through? It just seemed like I don't
Yeah,
know.
he smelled the desperation.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yep,
that takes us into part four,
yes,
infatuation.
yep.
Okay, so this part was the trip because my question was Charles at this point, he's morally bankrupt. We know he's for the streets. He like
Right.
he's not about being with one woman,
And
period.
right.
And
And Joan, right. And Joan is trying to justify her clouded judgment to be with him. You know what
right.
I mean? So she's like making all types of excuses. She's like thinking to herself about her sexual frustration and blaming that. She's like, how can I be with this married man while all the while still being with him and everything?
Right. So
And
he made Joan the mistress, whether she liked it or not. In the beginning, whether
she
she
doesn't like
originally,
being the mistress, but yet she finds herself drawn to him
yeah.
because he's very passionate. This chapter talks about how he took her to the park.
Mhm.
Before revealing this when they first met.
Everything she wasn't getting from the old man all that
Everything
time.
she wasn't getting from the old man. Yeah, you're right. She had her juices flowing and everything, and he took her out to dinner, and she's like, "Oh, he's a gentleman," and all that. And
So
then,
he agrees to, at this point, she's just gonna go ahead and be the mistress for Charles.
yeah, yeah.
So does she deserve to get the consequences or some
I
type
don't
of
know.
karma?
I don't know.
I think the situation itself has consequences for both of them, whether they like it or not, or karma. You know what I'm saying? Just agreeing to the situation, because
Right.
what is
Because
it just
she's like, her
temporary?
mind is boggled by the fact that she had the most fantastic orgasm she ever
Right,
had. And then he makes the statement, I'm married.
right.
That's like
You
unbelievable.
want putting you on an
I
emotional
know.
roller
What a
coaster.
roller coaster that is.
You
And then he just apologizes all over the place, you
know?
know.
Mm.
But
So part five, it takes us over to the next episode, part five, the other woman.
other women, yeah, this
So this
goes
goes into
into his wife, the story
right,
of him and his wife,
and her
and
perspective of Charles and
right,
their relationship and him being unfaithful.
yep,
So the killer part about this episode is that she left, the wife left, and she ghosted the marriage, moved out the apartment for a
yep,
whole month,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then she thinks that she could just come back knowing Charles is a cheater.
Knowing how he is, because she knew he was like that before they got married.
Right. She thinks she could just come back to the apartment and not expect, why, how could she not expect him to have had women over there?
And then to come over there and a woman he done left a woman in his bed, you know,
Mm, mm.
and she just decided
Telling
to
you, this
go.
how folks get killed.
It is, it is, you know. And for her to just waltz up in there, but the sad part on this one is that he he knew he could get his wife to come back at some
Right,
point, you know.
right.
um and he gave her some time to
Well, he
start
wanted
moving.
because he wanted his little freedom so he could be out in the streets playing anyway.
And right, and he needed her to help pay the bills and everything, so
Yeah.
yeah, he started, and what I don't like about Charles in this regard is that he wasn't even worried. He just knew the wife was going to come back and he could still do what he's been doing. And she did come back.
Yep. Just being just dumb.
Yep.
Dumb. Because
She
when you
started
come back,
missing him and
you
he
come
poured.
back, I feel like men like him go harder. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because they know they got you now.
Yep. Keeping her in his back pocket is his security, you know.
Yeah.
And his wife was insecure. She blamed herself for him doing what he was doing at some points. Um, she thought it was because had gained weight at one time, and she found reasons to. She was making excuses
Say
for
it was
him.
her fault. Yeah.
Yep,
And so he knew that. He knew that. And he played on that like a musician playing an instrument.
yep, yep.
And
And what?
so,
Go ahead.
Then we go on to part 6.
Yes.
And you titled that episode Physical Magnetism. So this part goes into Joan and Charles. Joan is losing brain cells, ignoring the lies, because she having these good relations with Charles.
She just
And
turned her brain
Charles
off.
now has Joan fully accepting to be his mistress.
Yep. You said she losing brain cells. She just turned her brain right off and just said, "I'm just gonna be down with this."
Yep, and she know he lying to her with
Yeah.
different times and
Yeah.
how she's
Yeah.
doing that other and the wife and all that, but she just ignoring it because ain't no way. I mean, he can't even lie good.
No. He's not even a good liar. That bothers me too because I think some men I be thinking they want to get caught sometimes.
Or they just know you ain't that they feel like the woman ain't really gonna go nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, and
It's
then
like they got the audacity. They
yeah,
have the audacity.
and then they get together and she melts and says she had he says I had to see you, and she's thinking to herself this is a curse, and but yet then she climbs into his car and they embrace and off to a sleazy short stay motel they go. Now they are at that point, and it went on for months like that.
Yeah, they couldn't get enough of each other.
Yeah. Oh my
No,
god.
knowing that what I'm saying, he's married and it's like I'm just gonna be with it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
then,
Entanglement.
I feel like at this point, Joan get what she get because you got to be an adult at
Yeah.
some point and be able. Once you know, you know.
That's the
You know what I'm
problem.
saying?
And once she found out, she struggled to justify it, making excuses. Well, it's because I was frustrated with the old man.
Yeah.
Then the wife leaves and comes back. Still, though, why would you put
Right.
yourself through that with
Right.
a serial cheater?
Exactly.
Charles is not a man that is a one woman man. Period. End of story.
Exactly.
And he's
Exactly.
not going to be that for any woman.
Nope. So I
And
like
women
at
will
some
fool
point.
themselves into thinking I'm the one he's going to stop doing that with. No,
Because
no,
it ain't about the perfect woman, which is not out there. It's him and his own personal
yep.
issue. So then we move on to part 7,
Lord,
entanglement.
Lord
Now
have mercy. Part 7.
I
Because
like
now,
this title because entanglement's been a word. It's been a
yes,
word this past
I
couple
couldn't think
years.
of another word for it because his wife, she's she's also settled. You know what I'm saying? Now
Right.
she knew who he was, like I said, before she even married him, and that we get that backstory in this chapter because they had a kid before they got married, or he had 2 children before they got
Right.
married, and she thought marrying him was going to make him settle down and be a
Right.
family man, but of course it did not.
No.
And he
Both
turned around and
Charleses
got
got
somebody
babies
pregnant right
at the
along the
same
same
time.
time. Yeah, that his wife got pregnant.
It's just
Yep,
messy. The
real mess.
entanglements are messy.
And then the woman that he got pregnant, she was similar to Joan, was just messing around with the guy, knowing he was married. She found out, but yet continued. And then what happened? She gets pregnant, but she does not want to keep him. She doesn't want him to. She knows who he is. Like she doesn't want Charles full time because she
Right.
knows he's not that kind of man. So what does she do? She packs up and just leaves. And he tries to be mad about it.
Pregnant.
Yeah, he
Pregnant.
tried to be a little mad about it, but she was like, "Yeah, I'm out of here. Me and my child. We don't need your child support or nothing like that."
Which I mean is ridiculous because you just on intentionally, what I'm saying, cut that child off from its father.
He's the sperm
Like
donor.
yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible that
It
she
is
allowed
terrible,
that
but I
to
mean,
happen.
it
Terrible for
turns
the
out.
child.
I know it.
Yeah.
I know
So,
it.
like, my comments was the wife for entanglement. I said the entanglements of this story in general was the wife being connected to both the husband and his lover because of the infidelity.
Hmm.
The husband is connected to his wife and to the child because of being a family unit, even though the wife might not consider herself to be part of the unit
Of
because
that
she
unit.
mentally then left, really. She
Yeah.
mentally left. She's just there because she feel like she needs to have, maybe she feel like she needs to have a husband. She don't want to be a single mom,
But
whatever
why would she tell
social
him he
pressure.
can't have anything to do with the other child? Did you
And
think that
that's
that was
evil.
right?
That's evil,
Yeah.
you know, to 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 tell someone, to tell a man that he can't be there for his child. What
Right.
I'm saying? If she felt like that, I mean, it's just wrong for the child.
It
How can
was.
you?
And look
How can
how it
you?
played out because she left once again when she found out about the other baby. He had a chance to go connect with the other baby, see the other baby while the wife was gone. And then the wife comes back as usual. And then she puts down that law. You can't see the other child. And he's like, well, okay, because the woman had moved out of state anyway.
Right,
So it was just
right.
became, you know, it
But
just became.
I would be feeling some kind of way to know that he was okay with not being in his child's life. Like, what kind of father,
Why did she
Because
even
you
say that?
yeah,
Why
yeah.
would she? Why would she take that out on
The
the
fact that
child?
she was sinister to an innocent child, and he was okay with it. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's
Well,
some
Charles just
serious,
lying because he
yeah,
lied. He
some
had already seen
serious.
his other
They
child. He
all
just
got some
lying.
serious principle
Yeah.
issues as far as nobody looking out for what's best for the kids, for the children.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
So I mean, is it
Selfish.
any winners or all losers? I think everybody in this entanglement, are losers, including the children
Yeah.
having to
Yeah.
be without a father.
Yep. Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So then we move on to part 8, baby mamas.
A continuation of the entanglements.
The result
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the entanglement. So one of the problems in this situation is that the woman with the husband's son has decided that she will not seek anything from the husband
Right.
and expects him to just move on with his life as if he is not a father.
Mhm. Mhm.
Does not create a healthy or stable environment for the innocent infant who has no control over his situation,
Yep.
And then it's like, why does it seem nobody, yeah, again, why does it seem nobody in this situation is thinking about what's best for the children?
Right. Yeah.
I think
And then
if they would have looked at the situation from that perspective and left all their desires and their selfish desires at the door, they could have at least had some
come to
relationship.
some type of agreement. But
Yeah,
do
they
you?
would
But Carla, I'm thinking, the wife. I guess she could have been a little bit out of her mind or out of her head with rage at some point in this because of the fact that he had this child like a month after she had their child,
Mhm.
and
I
I think
would
it
have
was just.
lost it. I would have lost it too.
Yeah, she was out of anger. She said, "You can't have anything to do with that child or whatever." And because she leaves, and then she comes back. She leaves, and then she comes back. As he knew, he was literally confident that he could get her to come back too at that. And uh, you
It's
know,
it's messy. It's
yeah,
real messy.
it is. It is beyond messy. Oh my
And
god.
Charles. I mean, he barely working, so all these kids,
You say he barely working.
so he
He
can't
working,
take
but he
care of 'em.
working at the wrong job. He's working at
Yeah,
he's
he
working.
working all kind of angles out here with these women.
Yep.
That's his main job.
Why? What is wrong with his ego? Is that an ego? Is it because he is that something he needs for his own self esteem, that he needs to
Probably.
always feel like he has this charisma? Because, like I said, his charisma is like his superpower. His, you know,
Mhm.
what it's like he. This is something he just needs to keep feeding. You know,
Right.
he has to keep pursuing these women. He can't settle down. He has to feel. To me, that's a man of small character.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you can't, you don't feel good about yourself unless you feel you can draw women in continuously like that.
Right. Right. It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. He need therapy. He needs some kind of therapy.
But he doesn't want to change. That's why I said in the
Right.
in at the end of the baby mama's chapter, expecting someone to change or that you can convince someone to change when that person does not even want to change is futile.
Yeah.
Charles' good looks and his charisma are his superpowers.
Right. And the wife, I think, kept thinking that Charles was going to change.
Why?
Whereas Joel, I think had accepted him for being a cheater. Well, she had to.
Yeah, she has said she can't be expecting that he's going to change at this point because she had been with him
He
for so.
had never been she had never been his only one. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Not even before marriage, after marriage, all the way through their marriage. She has never by herself. So she can't be expecting that he's going to change at this point. She has just decided to, in order for her to have a man, because that's on her end right there. She feels incomplete without a man, and she likes his looks and she likes his charisma also. She's hooked on it like a drug. You know, she can't let it go. And I think she feels a little bit higher in the hierarchy because she's literally married to this guy. But to what end? I mean, what is he bringing to the table for her to even, it just makes you want to slap somebody when you think about it. Uh,
Yeah.
to what end?
Mm.
So, boy, oh boy. And then finally, we get to part 9.
Yes.
Get what you
Um,
and really, it's a question: does everybody get what they want?
right. Right. Because the wife wants her husband, the husband wants his freedom, and the mistress just wants a man.
Yeah,
And the situation is based on the wife's attachment. That's why she's still there. And then the husband's selfishness and the mistress's desires.
yeah,
So everyone is wrong. Is everyone wrong in this situation for
wow,
wanting these different
wow,
uh they all want different things, but none of them are good for
right.
for for the relationship and entanglements that they putting them in.
And they just settle in. So Charles is predictable. Joan settles in her position, and the wife does too. And
Mm,
it's just a toxic triangle that
yeah,
continues on and on. They
because
stay
I
out of it.
don't think that the wife. I think that Joan has feelings for Charles, but I don't think the wife does anymore. I just think she's there
I agree.
because she wants to stay married.
I agree. I agree. And Charles
Can
stays
use
in
her
that
to help with the
marriage
bills
as
and stuff.
security, right?
Yep,
That's his security because he
exactly,
knows she's not going anywhere.
exactly.
He can be out and about having his mistress, and all that, and he knows the wife is going to be there.
Yeah,
What a shame.
yeah,
But they settle in like that and keep it going for years. I think Joan shortchanges herself in her life to keep
yes.
something like that for years. I
Mhm.
mean, you would think she would want more for herself in her life than
Right.
to settle
Wait,
in with a man
wait
who
some time. Yeah.
yeah, who can't take vacations with her. he can't, she laments about that. She's like, she really kind of sometimes wants more out of it. He manages to spend a couple holidays with her here and there, but that mistress work, you know,
Yeah, it's
that,
lonely.
yeah, those are the times that,
On
some of
holidays and
that.
stuff like that.
Yep, yep. And it's sad, really, in the end, when you think about it, that they all settle into their positions that way, especially when it says for years. You know
Right.
what I mean? That's.
And I think the only one, both women, I think, are under direct duress and stress.
Hmm.
I don't know about Charles being. I think that he's the only one probably that could give to. Probably
Yeah,
ain't even got a conscience. He just, you know,
yeah, yeah.
working. He working his situation. He working them.
So he's the one that's happy.
Maybe, and in some kind of weird way because he definitely got some personal egotistical issues. So
And low self esteem, in my opinion, because
yeah, but I
he's.
think he's
Why
still
would.
probably the only happy one.
Yeah, and it's abusive too. Why are you keeping this wife on a string like that?
Mhm.
You know? And
Yeah.
he doesn't even really, like you said, I agree with you that the wife, she been turned her feelings off on him, but she's in it for her own reasons, as far as having a man and having somebody that she can call her husband, the father of her children. She's in that mode.
Yeah.
And as long as the mistress
And
stays out her
hoping that
way.
the child, can grow up with a father. Because
Hmm.
the issues that can arise for children growing up without a father. So
Yeah,
she might be looking at it from that angle. Like I'm just going, because back in the day, women didn't leave;
that's right.
they just stayed.
And was expected to stay too,
Yeah,
you know.
through
Um,
all this crap.
yeah, the society, so still, that really hasn't gone completely away, so some
Yeah.
people just stay in it because of appearances and everything.
Mhm.
But wow.
It's
So
it's 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 a tale that is far too
common.
common.
It is.
Really.
It
It's
is.
still, nope. And to me, really, the nobody wins, and it continues a cycle of dysfunction,
I agree.
and then the children that are growing
Yeah.
through it probably end up growing up with some of those same issues
Yeah.
um that Charles, Joan, and the wife end up developing, have
Yep.
probably it's pushed on to into the children with that cycle of dysfunction. How
A
that's
legacy has been,
yeah,
you just have to hope
exactly.
that they see a real nuclear family that works in somewhere around, because the situation that Charles and his wife are creating, and even the mistress that had his, or the few mistresses that had his children, because remember, he had children before he even married Joan. So, he's a guy that just feel like he need to spread his seed around, I guess.
Yeah.
Making no kind of sense at all. I knew a guy in college that had said that, and it blew my mind. I was in college out at Ohio State, and he was from Cleveland. And I think, well, he was one of those older college students. We used to call them professional students. And I guess he was like 26 at the time, which is old for college age,
Yeah.
for undergrad age. And
Hmm.
he had 8 children already, or something crazy like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And he was happy about it. I mean, well, he was bragging really about it. He said,
Mm-mm.
and he ended up saying something like, "Yeah, because I like to spread my seed around, or something
Mm-mm.
crazy, like you some kind of king of Siam or somewhere, spreading your seed around, dude."
All of them kids is gonna be out here struggling,
Right? Because he
because
wasn't working, he was in school.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then you got the nerve to be in school.
He was. Taking one class at a time for 10 years and whatnot. Oh
Mm-mm.
my God.
With 8 kids. You supposed to be working working a full-time job somewhere trying to
Right.
help provide for them children.
Two, three jobs with 8 children.
Yeah. For real. And you talking about you going to school. It's way too late for that.
Ain't it though? Oh my gosh.
But they
But
don't think, they the principals, and it's all because they not, like I said, nobody thinking about the children, and it's
no.
all selfishness.
Very selfish. Very selfish.
And their children ain't asked to be here,
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah, so that was good. To story
Yeah.
5.
Story number 5. After the fact. Boy, oh boy.
Definitely, you can purchase the book and read the story for yourself, or you can follow and also, join the YouTube channel, catch up
Yeah.
on
Catch
all
up.
the
Catch
stories.
up on all the episodes.
Yeah, all the episodes for story 5, and or start from the beginning if you haven't. And
New
listen to
story
the
launching
other.
next week. I mean, actually, this weekend.
Yes,
Just an
yes,
illusion. Oh boy.
yeah, yeah. So we're gonna wrap up our Twitter space. We didn't wrap up our discussion. Um, any last thoughts said before we
No,
close up?
I
Okay.
really like the comments, and I this was a good story. It's a story that I'm sure many people can relate to.
Yes,
Yeah, and
yes,
hopefully people that will read it, some people might decide to take a different path, if
yes.
they're caught up in a situation that is like this.
Right, because it definitely exposes, you know, how these situations of infidelity, all the problems and the issues that develop from it. So, like you said, hopefully this can help people deter from making these bad decisions.
Yes. Make a better choice.
Make a better choice.
Yeah, you don't want to be growing old in a situation like that, and looking back years later and saying, why did I stay in this? There could have been many other possibilities out there, but you
Yep.
shut yourself down for someone who can never be faithful or be a real partner to you. And that's tragic. So, all right.
All
Well,
right, everyone.
until,
Well,
yeah,
thank you for listening and tuning in. We appreciate again all the support, and we will hope to have you join us when we wrap up the next story.
yes, stay tuned. You'll see a preview tomorrow for Just an Illusion. And of course, chapter 1 will drop on Sunday. All right,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a
Bye.
good night.
Yes.
Bye.